Today we're testing safety glasses. I've got a low, medium, and high price of Harbor Freight, and I've got a low, medium, and high price of Milwaukee. This is knockoff versus name brand. This is Chinese versus
American.
Well, this is actually Taiwan versus China. Come to find out, these American-made, American-built Milwaukee safety glasses are actually made in China. And these Chinese Harbor Freight safety glasses are actually made in Taiwan. The real question is, do you really need to spend 16 times the price on Milwaukee name brand safety glasses? Or can you get away with the $2 cheapos at Harbor Freight? Just for kicks, we're throwing in some gas station sunglasses. If you're a guy like me, sometimes these are all you have laying around. You put them on instead of your safety glasses. Certainly makes you look a little cooler, but is it really gonna protect your eyes? What's the point of all this? Our eyes are soft and mushy. Chemicals can get in them, sparks can fly in them, debris can fly at them. We're gonna simulate all of that, from a potato cannon to the face, all the way down to a basic drop test and everything in between. Our $2 cheapos honestly look great once that little tiny scuff. This is about 16 feet. Honestly, I think all the safety glasses are gonna survive this, but we gotta start the test somewhere. I'm not so sure about the gas station shades. These didn't take any damage, hardly at all. They're not actual Ray-Bans. I got these in Thailand. They're Ray pins. Boy pin? They're boy pins. I think it's safe to say that every single one of the safety glasses and the boy pins passed the 15-foot drop test, so we're gonna award them all a point. We'll keep track of score throughout the entire thing, that way you can find out which one's actually the best and which one's worth your money. For the next test, we're gonna do something really basic, but honestly really, really important, and that's style, comfort, fit. Style, you're not gonna wear it if you think you look dumb in it. Fit is important for making sure you don't get blasted from the side or up under here. Having that wraparound fit's gonna make a really big difference when it comes to unexpected explosions. You want them to be comfortable because you could end up wearing these all day. If they're not comfortable, you might take them off and that might cause you to go blind. So all those are important. To start out, the $2 Harbor Freight safety glasses. Honestly, looking through these right now, there's a little bit of like rainbowing effect on the side of the lights in front of me, so that's a little odd. But what I do like is this wraps around the side of my face really well. Covering here, getting on the sides, not allowing much room above the eyebrow. These things will keep you safe from debris, most likely. We'll find out in a little bit. These are the cheapest Harbor Freight glasses. These are the cheapest Milwaukee glasses, coming in at $8. So that's 4 times the price, but dang, I look cool. Okay, I'm not gonna lie, after looking at myself in the camera here, I actually like the look of the other ones better. This little nose thing is just weird looking. I guess the wraparound effect is just about as good on these. You're not gonna get too much debris in here. These $8 Milwaukees are advertised as anti-scratch, all-day comfort. We do have a scratch test coming up soon. Up next, we have the middle price Harbor Freight, which is $3.99. So after taking a look at myself, once again, I'm just not a really big fan of this big V shape in the front, but maybe that's just me. Maybe you look like a cool guy in these. We are gonna be awarding 1 point for style, 1 point for comfort, and 1 point for fit once I'm done trying all these on. We'll say this one has a little bit more of a gap right here on the sides than the other two we put on so far. So this one's definitely not winning the fit. It's fairly comfortable. Out of the first two, I would say the cheap ones is the more comfortable. Now for the mid-range of the Milwaukee. These are $14.97. I'm gonna say not comfortable, and I'm just guessing that I look like a goofball right now. And yes, indeed, this is probably last place when it comes to style. These things are pretty ugly. Now for the high end of the Harbor Freight, we have the Rangers. These guys have an interesting feel. There's a little bit of foam right here at the top. Feels like there's a good seam here that you're not gonna be able to get dirt and debris through. It's kind of important because I feel like your most likely place to get blown debris is either the side are kind of up through the top as you're kind of, I'm gonna say these are a mid comfort level. I just checked the way I look and it's not too bad. For $10 though, I do really like the seam at the top. I like that it has the foam. Now let's move on to the most expensive of all, the $32 Milwaukee's. So these guys are kind of special. They have this gasket that goes all the way around the inside, which should ideally fit snug tight to my face. I haven't tried them on yet. I'm definitely not getting laid, but I do think the gasket works. I can feel all the way around except right here on the edges where that gasket is fitting up against my face and is gonna protect me from debris, sparks, all that kind of stuff. I will say when it comes to fit, 1 point for the most expensive. Maybe that's worth the money. Surprisingly, when it comes to comfort, I think the $2 guys feel the most natural on my face. There's a little bit of that weird light distortion, but when it comes to just straight comfort, I wouldn't even really notice that these are on my face. And finally, when it comes to style, we gotta give it to the Pimboys. This may be the last point that the Pimboys are getting, but hey, we gotta give them at least something. They do obviously look better than everything else that I have on this table. Our next test starts right now, and it is the fog test. I think the fog test is really important because if you're in a hot climate, humid climate, you get sweaty, or even on a cold day like today, you're breathing, fogging up your eyes, you're either gonna take the glasses off, or you're not gonna be able to see. Both of those are bad. It's a nice cold day here in Texas. I can almost see my breath already here in the garage, so breathing through a mask should fog up the glasses really good. Super simple test. Starting with the Pimboys. On to the $2 Harbor Freights. We've got the $4 Harbor Freights, also not advertised as fog free. And you can see already as I'm talking, the fog is building up and I haven't even taken a big deep breath yet. This is the last set of safety glasses that is not advertised as fog free. This is the low end of the Milwaukee's. Let's see, a little bit of talking, they're starting to fog and a big breath. This one is the $10 Harbor Freight Rangers. These are advertised as anti-fog. Let's see. Well, hey, I'm talking and there is no fog building up. Let's try a big breath. Try a few more breaths. This works. For 10 bucks, no fog, cheaper than all the other options for fog free. I think that's good. On to the mid-price range for the Milwaukee's. So just talking right now, I actually am seeing fog build up just right here. Let's try a big breath. There is actually a decent amount of fog buildup. It's not as foggy as the ones that aren't advertised as fog-free, but there is fog, and now there's actually condensation. I'm giving no points to Milwaukee on this one. If you advertise as fog-free, it should be fog-free. We have the $32 Milwaukee's. Now, I'm talking, I don't see a bit of fog. Either that gasket is working, or there's better lenses on these than the previous ones, but this one is definitely a pass. Well, before I say that, let me do the breath test. Yeah, these are perfect. These things definitely pass the test. 1 point awarded to the high-end $32 Milwaukee's, 1 point awarded to the $10 Harbor Freights. I would say these two perform just as well as each other. The only difference is gonna be the look and the gasket. 3 times the price though for this one. We're moving on to the next test. We're gonna make it super fast, and then we're gonna move on to some of the more advanced testing, the stuff that doesn't happen as often in your garage, but when it does happen, you're gonna wanna be protected. Let's start with the abrasion test. This one I think is probably the single most important test, just because it's the most common reason that I throw away my safety glasses. This is my drill press and bandsaw workbench. I think this represents the average surface in a garage. It's got sawdust, dirt, metal shavings, just general grit everywhere. And this I think is gonna be the perfect test to simulate a year or two of throwing your glasses down in the garage. We got some pretty interesting results from the abrasion test. I've got these lined up from the least scratched all the way to the most scratched, and the interesting part is the top 3 most expensive glasses are also the top 3 most scratched. I've got a theory on that. These 3 are also the only ones that are advertised as anti-fog. I don't know how they make the lenses. If you do, please drop it in the comments. My guess is that it's a film that goes over the lens, and that film is getting scratched up way easier than the ones that don't have the film. So these 3 completely unusable. I would definitely not use them again. You wouldn't be able to see. The Pimboys lie right in the middle. They're pretty scratched up. I probably wouldn't even use these as sunglasses again. Even these 2 are a little too scratched up for me. You might be able to get away with them in a pinch, but the only true winner is the low grade of the Milwaukee's, and those happen to be the only ones that are actually advertised as anti-scratch. So 1 point to the low-grade Milwaukees. I'm not giving any points to the rest because I probably wouldn't use them unless I absolutely had to. We've officially moved on into the intermediate stages of testing, so things are about to get a little bit more extreme. ANSI stands for the American National Standards Institute. They decide what's safe and what's not safe when it comes to safety glasses. All of our safety glasses are ANSI rated, meaning they all should be able to survive this basic ANSI test. It's a 500-gram spike, dropped from 50 inches to the face. We've got a perfect replica of me, loaded up with the boy pins, the only glasses we're testing today that are not ANSI rated. I'm expecting them to shatter. Let's see what happens. Okay, so it glanced off the glasses. I'm gonna try to get a direct hit, but that would be pretty nasty if it hit you in the face. That was a direct hit. So unbelievably, these actually do pass the ANSI test. There's a little chunk taken out right there, but these things work. Don't use them. I wouldn't trust them, but it works. Yep, that's me. Colin's favorite and most expensive tape measure. You're probably wondering how I ended up in this situation. Well, Colin decided to use a non-ANSI rated tape measure during a dangerous ANSI spike drop test. Now I'm broken right at the 54-inch mark. The good news is that you can help. If badass tool testing is your type of content, hit the like and subscribe buttons. It tells the algorithm you want to see more awesome tool tests, and it helps me get monetized so that I can afford to replace my favorite tape measure. Anyways, back to the test. Pretty much same results for the $2 Harbor Freights. We've got a little chunk taken out. Well, it's not even really a chunk, it's just a scratch. But hey, it protected your eyes. That's what it's supposed to do. I kind of expect the rest of these to be the same. These mid-price Milwaukees are technically a pass. I'm gonna give it a point. It did protect the eye, but it did take one of the bigger, deeper chunks. I don't know if you can see that on camera, but that's definitely one of the deepest chunks so far. These were also advertised as anti-fog and they fogged up. They also scratched more than almost any of them. I'm gonna say at $14.97, you can do better for the price. Last up, we've got the high-end Milwaukees, $32. Let's see how they do. This is the deepest scratch yet, and this is the most expensive pair. I would not wear these again, even if they weren't scratched up from earlier. That is the deep enough scratch that you can feel it. With that said, it does pass. As a matter of fact, all of them pass. This guy's face is torn up, but his eyes are perfectly fine. Now, it's probably time to move on to something a little bit more dangerous. This is the spark test, and this is probably one of the most important reasons to use safety glasses. There's very few things that'll mess up your eye quicker than flaming hot particles of metal flying at your face. I've actually got my own safety goggles for this one. We've got a bolt that I'm gonna send sparks off of with this angle grinder. They're gonna fly right into our dummy's face. I've got tape upside down over both of his eyes to collect the particles. We're gonna use this to measure the amount of particles in the eyes, and you can see this is the control with no glasses at all, and he has a ton of particles, especially in his left eye. This gives us a baseline to compare what the safety glasses do to protect you. So you know how earlier I was talking about how the wraparound to the side is really important with fit? You'll notice this one, I turned him all the way to the side. He has almost no side eye protection. You can see right through to where his eyeball would be. And I'm guessing, yeah, he got a decent amount of debris in there. I could actually see the sparks bouncing off the inside of the glasses and back into his eyes. Obviously this did perform better than with no glasses at all, but I think this goes to prove if you're using gas station sunglasses with an angle grinder, you're probably not the sharpest tool in the shed. I'm legally blind. So I think this one did pretty good on the side eye, but there's a decent little gap here at the top. You can see it only at the top here. You've got a collection of particles. Maybe these aren't the best if you're looking straight down while you're doing angle grinding. So these $3.99 Harbor Freights, I think actually did a pretty good job. They close up this gap a little more than the $2 ones. And this side eye protection's pretty good. And I think it reflects. There's not nearly as much debris. There's still some debris, but it's not too bad. We've got a winner with the $10 Harbor Freights. You can see that gap with that gasket. It's closed up completely at the top. It wraps around the side of the face nicely, and there's hardly anything. I guess a few specks. I think we've got another winner. There's not very many particles in there, maybe just a few on top because there's that little gap again, but it's not as bad as the gap on some of the other ones. I'd say this did pretty good. The mid-grade Milwaukee's did about average. I saw a few sparks coming up from underneath more than usual. This protection around the brow is about average as well. A few got through, a few didn't. The side-eye protection, also about average, and there's an average amount of particles on there. Not bad, not great. So last up, we've got the most expensive $32 Milwaukee's. Honestly, they haven't done too great on the last couple tests, but on this one, I think they might just excel. They're the only ones that have this gasket that goes completely around the inside, encasing the eye on both sides. So I think these did a little above average, but to be fair, I don't know if it was a completely fair test, because for this gasket to work, it has to be snug on your face, and this face is a little narrow. It's definitely a pass, but I think they would do a little better on a real person. I'm just not gonna put my face in there and try. I've got the results from the Sparks test. This is the tape from each test. There's only two that I'm not gonna give points to. One of them is obviously the sunglasses. I just can't, in good conscience, tell you to use sunglasses with an angle grinder. You're gonna get yourself hurt. Don't do it. One surprising fact is the sunglasses did actually perform a little bit better than the $2 Harbor Freights, but I'm not giving that one a point either. It just had a little bit too much debris getting through at the eyebrow area. The gap was too big. Now, that may have been the shape of the head. When I put them on my head, they did feel a little bit better, but once again, I'm not putting my face down there to find out. So I've got to go with the test results as they are, and that means everybody gets a point except the $2 Harbor Freights and the boy pins. This is the last intermediate test. After this, we're moving on to the three most extreme tests that will for sure destroy some safety glasses. But first, they've got to survive a spray bottle full of acetone. We can't use this guy because acetone will literally melt him on contact, and he has some work to do here in a little bit. Instead, I've got all of our safety glasses lined up. I'm gonna give each of these a few sprays with acetone. I expect that a lot of these are gonna be completely unusable after this. Let's find out. Look at that. Instantly, these high-end Milwaukee's kind of crystallized. I think that's that fog coating coming off. I'm gonna have to wipe it off and see what happens, but it looks like these second most expensive Milwaukee's did the same thing. It's time for the results of the acetone test, and I've gotta say all of these would protect your eyes, but I've decided I'm not giving points for that. I'm giving points for the ones that survived the test and would still be usable. Up first, we've got the gas station sunglasses, the boy pins. These did pretty good, actually. The only part that I noticed a difference on is where we already scratched it. The acetone seemed to kind of etch into the glass a little bit on the scratches, so it did make the scratches more pronounced. Let's say 1 point, because if they weren't scratched already, these would be fine. And the $2 Harbor Freights performed like you'd expect $2 safety glasses to perform. That's not fog, that's not coming off, that's on there permanently. Some stress cracking popped up right there. I don't know if you can see that on camera, but that's not good. These definitely do not get a point, but for $2, I mean, that's kind of what I'm expecting. The $4 Harbor Freights, on the other hand, I think look pretty great. These things are holding up pretty nice for $4. That's definitely a point. Now, the $10 Harbor Freights, also looking pretty excellent. I did notice a little bit of permanent fogging popped up from the acetone down here at the bottom. I don't know why it only affected the bottom. I sprayed the whole thing. Maybe it all drained down to the bottom and sat there, but I'm also gonna give that a point. That seems like it did pretty well. The lower price Milwaukee's did pretty great. These came out exactly the same, definitely get a point. Now here's where it gets a little shocking. Our two most expensive pairs failed again. These guys look awful. That is permanent crystallization. I'm pretty sure that's that anti-fog coating, which once again, the Rangers are also anti-fog. It didn't happen to them, but it did happen to the Milwaukee's. That's not coming off. You can actually feel it when you rub your finger across there. That's there for good. These are definitely trash if it wasn't for the fact that we have a little bit more testing to do. But the craziest part is these don't even look as bad as the most expensive pair. The $32 Harbor Freights are awful. I mean, like, they're almost sticky still. There's no way that's coming off. That is there for good. These are done. These are trash. Stay tuned because our 3 most extreme tests are coming up next. There's one more bonus test before the extreme test, but honestly, I think it's gonna make this video too long, so I'm only gonna post that test on the extended cut on my Patreon. No worries if you're not interested in that, but if you are, it gives you extra content. It helps me get bigger, badder tools and grow the channel. It also lets you do things like help me decide what tools are next. There's random tool giveaways. But either way, I'm just glad you're here watching. Now let's move on to our 3 most extreme tests. So that plan failed. New plan. I moved it up to about 1 foot away. I've got the nail gun shooting through a hole in a piece of plywood. We're getting straight down to the action. It does seem to protect. There's some damage to the glasses. They're not usable after this. Let's try it out on all the others. The $9.99 Harbor Freights, this is the Ranger brand. On first glance, I thought these were a pass, but actually it looks like we have 2 that have failed and will be unusable. The nose piece is broken. I thought I was just gonna be able to snap it back into place like that, and it does go back into place, but it turns out it actually snapped right there. These are done. That's not gonna stay on your face. This whole thing can easily just pop out. That's one of the failures. Let's look at the other one. The $3.99 Harbor Freights. These ones also did not pass. The dimpling's about the same as the Rangers. It took a pretty deep gash, but I'm not giving it a point because the lens has busted loose. That's not coming back together. You could probably try to snap it back into place. Yeah, but I don't trust that it's coming apart really easily now. So overall, everything gets a point except the middle price range of the Harbor Freights and the high price range of the Harbor Freights. Both of these are unusable after this. All of these would have protected your eyes except the sunglasses, but once again, we're looking for ones that can survive a nail gun to the face and you can still put them on the next day and they're gonna protect you again. Now it's time to move on to the most dangerous test yet. A lot of you guys probably know table saws are one of the most dangerous tools you can have in your garage. You can fall on them, you can get your thumb caught in the blade, and one of the things that tends to happen a lot, especially with the older ones, is you get really bad kickback. That blade's coming like this, you push wood in, and then all of a sudden, instead of it cutting through the wood, the saw blade launches the wood back at you and potentially hits you in the face. That is insane. This guy has such little face left that the safety glasses are actually set back in his skull, but the glasses themselves on every single pair are absolutely fine. I think if you had a real face that wasn't styrofoam and wasn't torn up, you probably would have been fine as long as you didn't get a glance up under or up through the nose like this guy did so many times. This is all that's left of the Boy Pin gas station sunglasses. I think we've proven fair and square. Sunglasses are not safety glasses. You should not be using these when you're using power tools. Now the good news, every single one of our safety glasses passed the table saw test with flying colors. None of them took any damage more than they already took before. All of them would still be usable had they not already been a little bit broken. All of them would have protected the eyes. The only caveat to that is, if your face is really messed up like our foam guys, it seems like a kickback from the table saw can get you in different places that maybe it couldn't usually. All these safety glasses did great. Every single one of them is getting a point, and we're moving on to the final test. This is probably a situation you're never gonna be in, but I know this is the one you've been dying to see. Right behind me, that's a 6-foot long potato cannon, and it can shoot this potato 200 yards. We've tested it before. But it's not going 200 yards today. We're putting these glasses on the foam head at point blank range. Three, two, one. Holy crap. It looks like we missed the glasses, but our potato, or what's left of the potato, ended up in the hat. Our styrofoam head is no more, so I'd like you guys to meet Jack. He's our new test subject. We're gonna run through all the safety glasses here on Jack and see how they come out. 3, 2, 1. That was a direct hit to the nose. You can see where it moved this, but there's no glass left in the glasses, so you couldn't really tell how much damage it actually did. 3, 2, 1. Editing Colin here. I realized I forgot to turn on the slow motion camera for this pair of glasses. My bad. This is my first YouTube video, but we're learning. We've got a definite loser to the potato cannon. Complete failure. No points for our $2 Harbor Freights. I've got the $3.99 Harbor Freights. Honestly, I have less faith in these than I did the $2 Harbor Freights, just because this is multiple pieces that are already kind of snapping in and out of place. I think these are probably going to explode. Let's find out. 3, 2, 1. There we go. We couldn't even find all the pieces of the $3.99 Harbor Freights. Up next, we've got the highest end of the Harbor Freights, the $9.99 Rangers. These are one big piece for the lens, so I'm hoping these things might have a chance, but honestly, it's looking tough. I don't know if any of the glasses are gonna survive the potato cannon test. 3, 2, 1. I've got 2 pieces of the rim. This is covered in potato dust. Wow, it literally took the paint off the freaking Jack. We're moving on to the Milwaukees. We've got the lowest end of the Milwaukees. Based on what happened to all the Harbor Freight glasses, I'm guessing that these aren't gonna survive either. 3, 2, 1. Wow, that is the best looking pair yet. Not perfect, but that might just snap back into place. Holy crap, I can't believe it. They survived. I don't know if I fully trust them, but I think that's worth a point at least. That survived better than anything else. Here we go. 3, 2, 1. Come on. There it goes. Well, we lost a lens. That one looks better than most of the rest. All right, last one. Ready? 3, 2, 1. This is all that's left. We've got our $2 Harbor Freights, our $4 Harbor Freights, the $10 Harbor Freights, and then the Milwaukees are actually looking pretty good. These guys survived completely, and these last 2 are just missing a lens. It's time to see those final scores, and by points, the low grade of the Milwaukee have taken first place. But for my personal recommendation, I actually probably would not buy these, and let me tell you why. The problem with these is that they fog up really easily, and to me, that makes them almost unusable. And so for that reason, my personal purchase would be the $10 Harbor Freight's, the Rangers. The Rangers are the cheapest ones that are fog-free. They're also the cheapest ones that have a gasket. They survived almost as well as anything else. For 10 bucks, I don't think you're gonna go wrong. You can replace them without feeling too bad about it. And if you throw in a couple extra pairs of the $2 cheapos, you'll always have one in your truck and an extra one in your toolbox whenever you need it. This is my first YouTube video ever, so if you liked it and you wanna see more, don't forget to like and subscribe. And please comment what you'd like to see next, or maybe what I can do better. You probably noticed this big box beside me thanking my Patreon supporters. It is empty because I don't have any, but that could be you. If you're the first one, I promise to put your name huge across the screen at the end of the next video, and everyone that subscribes to my Patreon, their name is going right here as a thank you at the end of every video. If you're interested in purchasing any of these safety glasses, the links are down below in the description. Thank you guys so much for watching. My name's Colin, and I'll see you next time on Grit Work.